Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. So there was no video yesterday. Obviously there wasn't any news going on anyways. Plus I was working till 12 o'clock at night for my regular job. So didn't work out, but it actually worked out pretty well. So we have a lot to cover today. We have Cleanspark, Bitfarms, Cipher providing production updates for February. Yeah, February already. Wow. Time is flying by. And then we also have some news from Hive and DMG also. We'll take a look at that. And then Bitcoin obviously had one of its biggest candles for the month. So we'll take a look at all that information throughout the video. There's going to be chapters down below for you guys as always. And as always, you guys know this drill. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. Gets the obviously the video out to other people. So please hit the like button. Okay. So let's get into Bitcoin really quick here. What's going on with it? Bitcoin had a fantastic month in February. It was the best month we've had pretty much ever. We can see here that Bitcoin for the month of February was up 43.79% on the month. It was up $18,630. It's the best month we've had. And this is actually really surprising because we're not anywhere past the halving event yet. We're pre-halving actually. So if we look back to the previous halving cycle, you can see this bar here is the halving when that happened. And you can see Bitcoin here was actually kind of trading downwards, right? And then after the halving event, we skyrocketed up like crazy here in the next 10 to 12 months or so afterwards. We came back down a little bit here with the China ban and things like that, some FUD happening at that point. Then we came back up here to the all-time high. Now, this time around, we have the halving next month happening here in April. So we're about 40 some odd days now away from it. And we can see here that, I mean, we've just been rocketing up here in price in Bitcoin, which has been really crazy. And I think it's mostly driven because of the spot Bitcoin ETF. There's just a lot of adoption happening, a lot of people wanting to get in, making it also easier for people to get in into Bitcoin with the spot Bitcoin ETFs. You don't have to custody it. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about logging into, like Coinbase and things like that. You can buy it on your regular exchanges that you partake in. So I think this is all driving, obviously, the price of Bitcoin up much higher. And then also we have the halving event happening here right now in 40 some odd days. That's going to bring a supply shock more into it. So this is definitely a much more wild and exciting halving event than we've had in the past, which is great for us, obviously, because we invest in miners and Bitcoin and things like that. And we definitely enjoy having this go up like it is. But overall, fantastic month for February. For Bitcoin and the miners as well. We'll take a look at that probably over the weekend here in a video. We'll see how the miners did it in the last month compared to Bitcoin and things like that. We'll look at all those, but this is obviously fabulous. So congrats to everybody that's been holding on or buying the dips or trading, however you guys are doing it. This is definitely a fun time to be in the market right now. Okay, looking at the Bitcoin here, how it did in the last week here, you can see also we've had a fantastic week here. We were up pretty much 4 out of the 5 days here on regular trading days, Monday through Friday, and it's just been a great, well, we're looking at the weekly here, but then daily. Daily, you can see here we were up definitely for the at least 4 out of the 5 trading days. So fantastic week here. That's obviously what propelled us to having a great month here in February. And we are right now at 62,135. We're only about, 7,000 or so away from the all-time high that we had previously in Bitcoin with the last cycle. And we might actually get past that and breach it and go above that before we even have the halving event this time around. So it's going to be a crazy halving event, I think, especially in the next 10 to 12 to maybe 18 months or so after the halving event, where we could see Bitcoin going to 180, maybe 250, 300,000. Who knows where things might end up at. But it's definitely going to be fun. We'll keep you guys abreast of everything that's happening here. But the miners also had a kind of wild week here. I'm not going to go through every single one of these guys here, but you guys obviously know Monday was a great day for the miners. And then we kind of plummeted down throughout the week here. And then finally, we finished out on the green side of things on Friday. So we'll take a look at how they performed against Bitcoin in this weekend's video as well when we compare the two for the weekly on that one. Okay, so Bitcoin's doing great right now. We'll see. I'm guessing the weekend's going to be kind of flat. That's kind of what I want to see at least. And then hopefully next week when we start trading again, we'll have a nice week going forward. Other than that, miners were up quite nicely here today. Not as nice as they were obviously on Monday, but still nonetheless, they were up quite nicely here. But they did start out the day in the green, then they came back into the red, and then they reversed it again towards the end of the day here, going into the green, which is nice to see. Only 2 were down today, it looks like. We had cores down 0.27%, DMG was down 0.39%, and then everybody else here was pretty much single digits increases except for Argo, was up 14.85% for some reason. Really no reason for it to be up. Didn't see any news from them or anything like that. I think it looks like, other than that, Wolf was probably the second highest increase here at 9.33%. So that's good for them. And then otherwise, everybody was like 5, 6, 4%, something like that. So overall, a good day. Green day, we'll take it nonetheless. Okay. Now, going into our stories here that we do have on the miners here. The first one's going to be DMG. So DMG Blockchain Solution reiterates leadership in Bitcoin blockchain services. I almost forgot about this, actually. But they do have their own Terra pool, and there are other things that they're doing as well. But they're kind of going after Marathon for reporting that they have their own, what do they call it? I can't remember what they call it, but it's in here. Excuse me. But here's what we have. So DMG, having been the first to perform the ordinal inscription of a large digital art collection with 535 DGods or ordinals on February 13th, 2023 in Bitcoin block 776508, which was mined by Terra Pool, DMG's carbon neutral pool. According to DGods, as posted on X, this was the first time in history every transaction in a single block, Bitcoin block, was constructed from an artistic purpose. And then here they're quoting Marathon, obviously, with the service that they came out with. DMG says, which is also a publicly traded Bitcoin mining company, has been offering similar services for over a year, as it has its own pool, Terra Pool, which is powered by carbon neutral energy, right? They're using the Petra technology here to do that. Marathon is using something else, but Marathon is saying that they're the first publicly traded company with their own pool to do that. So I guess that would be a fallacy there, right? If DMG is saying that they were doing it for a year, that makes them the first ones. It would make Marathon the second. It would make Marathon probably the largest out of the publicly traded mining companies that are doing it, but not the first. Okay. Going down here, I don't think there's anything else in here. You guys can read that. I thought it was kind of interesting. And it looks like we're having a little bit of battle as far as who can reign supreme in this kind of space where they're kind of loading things, not on the direct chain or the mempool, but subverting it a little bit. Okay. So that's it for that one. Next is going to be on Hive here. So Hive Digital Technologies tops 2024 TSX Venture 50 in technology, leading in blockchain and AI infrastructure. This is actually really good news for them. This is what they announced. So Hive announced today that it has ranked #1 in technology category on the 2024 TSX Venture 50 list, a ranking of the top performers on TSX Venture Exchange over the last year. The TSX Venture 50 list is comprised of 50 companies from 5 different industry sectors, selected based on 3 equally weighted criteria. So congrats to the Hive team. Getting on the TSX. Obviously, TSX is much smaller, but nonetheless, this is definitely a good thing for them. And you guys can read the rest of the stuff and what they're doing. But I just wanted to kind of put it out there. Congrats to Hive on that. Obviously, we want to see Hive grow some more into the halving and after the halving event. We'll see what they actually come up with, but they're trying to stay at basically 1% of the Bitcoin network hash rate is what their goal is intended. Maybe they can change their mind a little bit, maybe get that to 2%. Might be kind of nice, but we'll see what they do. Nonetheless, this is great news for them. Great accomplishment. Okay, let's get into our monthly production updates here. So the first one is going to be on Bitfarms. Bitfarms earns 300 BTC in February, provides update on fleet upgrade. So there's quite a bit here to go through. Here's a quote from Geoff Murphy. As a critical component to our growth, we are executing well against our transformational fleet upgrade and our target of 21 exahash by year end of 2024, which would be fantastic. We expect the upcoming deliveries of more high efficiency Bitmain T21 miners to begin operating at our Quebec farms in March, so basically this month. Based on the installation schedule, we anticipate an immediate 8% increase in hash rate to 7 exahash, and an 11% improvement in our energy efficiency to 31 watts per terahash. So that would obviously be great. They're at 6 something right now, 6.5 I think. So that would be definitely a nice improvement there. I personally inspected the development in Paso Pe, Paraguay about 2 weeks ago. Our incredible team continues to deliver, and I'm thrilled at the progress being made. The installation of 8 hydro containers and 1,120 hydro miners is well underway. So that's good news there. So that should be getting energized here shortly. 4 air-cooled warehouses are nearly built and almost ready to receive the initial shipment of T21 miners, so that's also good. We anticipate the first miners to be energized in mid-March, so like 2 weeks away. Upon completion, we expect Paso Pe to contribute approximately 3.2 exahash with an expected efficiency of 24 watts per terahash to meet our guidance of 12 exahash by the end of Q2 2024. So that would be obviously fantastic there. It would basically almost double them from where they are right now. So that's really good there. At Iguazu, Paraguay, we signed the engineering, procurement, and construction contract for the A&D substation that is required to energize our new 100 megawatt hydropowered project. This is expected to contribute roughly 3 exahash at 22 watts per terahash efficiency, which contributes to our target hash rate of 17 exahash in H2 of 2024, achieved through the miner purchase already announced. Combined with stated expansion, the option of miner redeployments, and a few key opportunistic acquisitions, we are aiming for 21 exahash by year-end 2024, Murphy explained. So definitely nice growth here in this year. The more they can get done, obviously, before the halving would be great. And then obviously growing after the halving event also will help them out tremendously. So going from where they are right now to where they're going to be, this is definitely a good move by them. This is from Ben Gengen. In mid-February, we received 12 Bitmain T21 miners that we installed in Quebec for testing. During the initial 2 weeks, the miners proved highly efficient and in fact are outperforming the manufacturer specs in both normal and high energy modes at this time. So that's actually really good news because they bought quite a bit of those. So if they're performing better than expected, that's even better, right? Maybe they have a little bit more hash rate to them or something. But this is obviously good news here. And then let's get into the mining review here. So February mining operations generated 300 BTC compared to 357 in January, reflecting participation in grid stabilizing curtailment programs, fewer production days in February, and 16.2 increase in difficulty during the month. So it does look like they possibly curtailed a little bit here. And we had a shorter month also, 29 days instead of like the 30 or 31 days. We had a leap year. We had one extra day here. So that kind of helped out a little bit as well. But obviously BTC earned here was 300, month-end operating hash rate 6.5. So like I said, they're going to be possibly doubling that or close to doubling that by the end of the first half. And then they're going to double that, almost double that again by the end of the year. So definitely good growth there. Great growth, you could say. Okay, BTC sold 300, so pretty much whatever they mined here, they sold. And then I wonder if there's anything else that is it. Oh, here we go. Paid off $2 million of indebtedness, eliminating our remaining debt balance. So they should be debt-free completely right now. If you recall, going back to 2022, they had quite a bit of debt. They had to sell quite a bit of their HODL that they had at that time to get out of debt. And they weren't the only ones. There were a lot of miners that were in trouble at that point. But they've done a fantastic job paying that off and growing at the same time. They started, well, they didn't really grow too much in 2022 or 2023, but they definitely concentrated on paying off the debt and then getting to a position where they can grow now to 21 exahash by the end of this year, potentially. So that's great there. Okay, let's take a look at the numbers that we do have here for them, and then we'll get into the next one. So the first one is going to be on Bitfarms here. Bitfarms currently has a 943 million market cap. Shares outstanding about 322 million. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been kind of mediocre, you could say. 16% up from 12 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago, they're up 11%. 4 weeks ago, 34%. And last week, they were down 16.34%. Current hash rate, 6.5. Future hash rate that they have pretty much purchased was 12 exahash right now is what I have them for. They do have the option to buy the additional 5 exahash to get into 17. And then after that, they have to figure something out to get to 21 exahash. Okay, so that's what we have right now. HODL is at 804 Bitcoin. That's valued at about 40 million right now. And then you can see their BTC production here has been kind of all over the place here a little bit, but mostly it's been close to their average of 392. But these 2 months here, they've been kind of down here. January, they've been down to 357, and then February down to 300. Yes, we had one less day potentially in the month. And then here's their month-over-month difference. BTC mined, BTC HODL has been increasing ever since February of last year, which is nice to see. And they kind of peaked here at 804, and they've been kind of steady here for the last couple of months. BTC per exahash efficiency has been coming down. That's kind of what we're seeing with everybody here. We'll see where everybody comes in at the end of at the end of February when they all are done reporting it. We'll see who came in top here. BTC sold. You can see how much they've been selling. Hash rate growth has also been, as you can see here, has been growing, but it's been definitely small growth. So last year they were at 4.7. Now they basically installed about, what is that, approximately 1.8 exahash in the last year or so. All right, so it's been happening, but it's been slow. This year we should have a lot more growth here than we've seen in the previous year, which I think is going to help, obviously, the stock price potentially as well. Revenue, they peaked in December with 18.9 million here, and they were down to January 15.3, and then February 14.96, based on the average Bitcoin price and what they mined. That's kind of what I'm calculating that they possibly could have gotten. And then hash rate difference month over month, BTC sold value Always look at those things. Going down here, institutions and analysts. This was nice to see. Institutions increased to 160 here. Shares also increased by a couple million here to 75.8 from 73.1. Percentage increase to 22.7. We still have the same 1 strong buy rating, 3 buy ratings. Price targets stay the same. $7 for the high, $4.50 for the average, and $3 for the low. And then going down here, as far as what they mined here in February, we scroll over. February looks like they were mining for approximately 26.4 days. So they definitely curtailed quite a bit here. No, not quite a bit. I mean, we had 29 days, so they basically curtailed for 2.5 days or so based on this. And I did add 837,000 to BTC fees for it. And then that's how we got to the 14.9 million in revenue for them. Okay. Now, if they're able to run for the full month in March here, depending on where March comes in at, as far as the price is concerned, we're looking at currently at 16.8 million. Now, if Bitcoin price goes up much higher, that's definitely going to increase for them as well. Plus, we have the halving event next, or not in March, in April, we'll have the halving event. So then we'll look at it at that point. Going back up here, the current estimates here, future estimates, I'm probably going to get rid of this here going forward. We only have 1 month left before the halving event. But this kind of looks at what was their revenue here for February. We multiply that times 1 month at 100%, and then it's going to be 11 months after having at 50%. I'm between $3.02 to $4.53. They're currently at $2.93. I say they're undervalued right now. And then if we look at historical numbers, where we look at the last 3 quarters for them in the current quarter that we're in, I'm between $5.04 to $7.55. They are undervalued. I think they should be at least like 2x from where they are right now, based on this information. Okay. So let me know what you guys think of this one, but this one definitely I see as undervalued for where they are right now. And, you know, we've obviously saw a pretty wild week with the miners here this past week. And sometimes the miners decouple from where Bitcoin goes. They kind of do their own thing for a little bit and they shoot back up or shoot back down. This week they shot back down a little bit here, but I think that's going to possibly bounce back up going forward. We'll see where Bitcoin goes and everything else on that side. Other than that, they're operating obviously very well. We are going to be waiting to see their quarterly results here, or fiscal year end results coming up here. We'll see how that all stacks up for their quarterly metrics here, as far as how their debt is looking. Obviously, their debt's going to be paid off here, in this current quarter. So we'll see some debt here in Q4 numbers as well. But we really want to see is what is their cost to mine Bitcoin, and then other metrics as well. We'll take a look at that when that happens. But otherwise, they're doing great. No worries there going into the halving. Next, let's take a look at the next one here, which is going to be on Cipher. Cipher is going to be pretty short and sweet here. They didn't provide a lot of details. So Cipher Mining announces February 2024 operational update. And then here's what we have here. So they just provided 334 Bitcoin being mined. BTC sold was 33. BTC held 1,433. So they're definitely stacking their hodl here more towards the halving event as it's coming up here. And then month-end operating hash rate was 7.4. So that is a little bit of an increase from what they had the prior month. Okay, and then Cipher will host fourth quarter and full year 2023 results call on Tuesday, March 5th. So we have that to look forward next week as well. All right, so one thing I would like to see from Cipher is also kind of break this out. They do have a joint venture that they're part of. I'd like to see that broken out. Maybe that would make it a little bit easier on me at least, but I like all those miners that have joint ventures to break that stuff out into those different business segments. Nonetheless, here, Cipher has 254 million shares outstanding, market cap 786 million right now. They're not too far behind in market value compared to Bitfarms. Bitfarms is at 6.5, but that's all their self-mining. At that point, we'll take a look at what their self-mining here is based on the numbers that I do have for them. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been kind of bad. They're only up 4% from 12 weeks ago, down 22 from 8 weeks ago, down 13% from 4 weeks ago, and then last week they were down 19.84%, right? A lot of that has to do with Bitfury owning a lot of shares in them. And then obviously we just heard news this past week that Bitfury is going to be, basically distributing the shares out to their shareholders, but it's still not kind of what we thought it's going to be. You still got basically the CEO with his fund that he owns, or investment fund, whatever it is going to have a large portion of those shares. And then 50 of their shareholders are going to have the rest of what they're distributing. So it's still going to be pretty heavily weighted with, one person having a lot and then the rest having quite a bit as well. So we'll see how that all plays out. If that actually helps the stock now go up a little bit, but we'll see. Okay. Current hash rate 6.45, and that's based on, let me make sure I have the right number here, monthly stats. Yep, So total hash rate with the joint venture is 7.4. Yep. Okay, so that all works out. So that's kind of what we have at 6.4. So they're pretty close to where Bitfarms is right now as far as their own self-mining hash rate is concerned. Future hash rate 16.8 roughly that I have figured out. Hash rate left. Quite a bit of growth here left in them as well. BTC HODL 1,433, but that's valued at 71 million right now. And you can see their BTC production has also been coming down as well, like you've seen with Bitfarms over the last 2 months. And then month over month BTC mined. BTC HODL, you can see that they started really to increase their HODL here as of pretty much December of this year. This is when this really started stacking here. BTC per exahash efficiencies down to 45 here for the month. BTC sold. Very little here selling, obviously, in the last 2 months, 35 and 33. So that's good, especially as we get into the halving event. And then we have here total hash rate with joint venture is 7.4. Revenue peaked in December, like for a lot of the miners, it actually peaked in December. And then unless they were really growing. But in January, they were down to 15.9. They actually had an increase here in February of 16.6. So that was good. Hash rate difference month over month. BTC sold, how much they sell. And then going down here, we'll look at the institution side of things. Institutions did increase nicely here to 167 from 135. Shares also increased, almost doubled here. Owned by institutions to 43 million from 21 million. So that's really good. 16% also owned now instead of the 8.5. We still have two strong buy ratings, four buy ratings, one hold rating, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price targets is still $8 for the high. The average actually went down to 567 and the low stayed the same at 450 right now. Going down here as far as what they mined here, this is for their joint venture stuff here. So I'm trying to track that separately as best as I can. Given that they had increased their hash rate a little bit here, I believe, and yep, in February, I'm guessing that that was for their self-mining operations because they didn't provide any other details on it. So that's kind of what we're going with here. And then here's what we added basically. So we added 1,425 of these 110 terahash miners. And then we also added 250 of these 200 terahash miners to get us to the 7.4 that they reported at, right? And that's partially because, let me see if I have this right. Odessa is their self, oh yeah. So we're tracking that here for the self, and then this is obviously for the joint venture up here. That's kind of how we're tracking it. And then we're using a percentage on it, and that's how we're kind of getting the numbers that we have for them here as it is. So we got them to 16.6 million. We had to add about 932,000 in BTC transaction fees to make it all work, but they were running for 27.6 days also, so they did curtail for about, what is that, about 1.5 days or so, because of the winter right now, possibly, where they're located. So it's not too bad. You know, that's actually not, that's pretty good. But other than that, I would say that that was looking pretty good. Going up here to my numbers here, again, forward looking, 1 month before the halving event, 11 months after the halving event, 50%. I'm between $3.70 to $5.55. They're undervalued. They're at $3.09. And then if we look at the historical numbers, the 3 quarters prior and the current quarter that we're in right now, I'm in between $6.16 to $9.24. They should be at least double as well. So they are a little bit more undervalued, I think, because of Bitfarms, or not because of Bitfarms, but more undervalued than Bitfarms is currently. And then also, total current liabilities is looking not too bad. Total current assets also pretty good. So current ratio is really good. Not really good, but it's good, right? They have enough to cover their debt. So that's looking fine there. So there's really no reason for them not to be much higher other than that Bitfury overhang on them. That's the only thing I can think of for them, right? Their HODL has been growing, everything. They're doing everything right. It's just that large, you know, a small percentage of people controlling a large percentage of their shares. That's the only thing I can think of that's holding them back, really. And then obviously we've seen institutions start to buy in as well. So we'll see. But other than that, they're doing really good. Good growth still ahead. They should be fine going into the halving event. I see no problem with Cipher going forward. Okay? So that's it on that one. Let me know what you guys think of it. And let's get into the next one here as well, which is going to be on Cleanspark here. So this was Cipher. I was just looking at that purchase that they did in January for their joint venture. I want to make sure when that was coming in. Those aren't coming in until the second quarter of 2024 here. So that's where that came from. That's why I wanted to double check my work. Okay, Cleanspark here. So Cleanspark releases February 2024 Bitcoin mining update. And here's what we have from them. There's a lot of, quite a bit of context, I guess you could say, from Zach Bradford as far as their growth here. They've done a fantastic job growing 60% in basically a couple weeks here. So they went from 10 exahash to 16 exahash within like 3 weeks or something like that. Fantastic job by those guys. So here's February Bitcoin mining update. Bitcoin mined 648, pretty close to, they were close to 650. Total Bitcoin holdings as of February 29th was 4,218. Total Bitcoin sold, they only sold 2.8, barely anything. Current hash rate, 16 exahash, and then they're using the 13.88 exahash, which is their kind of like average, because obviously that's kind of the way things work. You don't get everything installed at the beginning of the month. You install it throughout the month, so they're using the average there for that. And I think that is it here. They talk about a little bit about the Mississippi acquisitions, Dalton acquisitions, and how they're proceeding with those and the growth that those are going to represent. And that should get us more hash rate installed here in the next couple weeks and months as well, as we go in through March and April as well. Okay, but that is pretty much it here. So let's take a look at the numbers for Cleanspark, and we'll call it a day. Okay, so Cleanspark has 198 million shares outstanding right now. Market cap 3.5 billion. Current or past performance over the last 12 weeks has been really good here. 58% from 12 weeks ago, 60% from 8 weeks ago, and 98% from 4 weeks ago. And then last week they were actually down 8%. We'll see where they come in this week. Their current hash rate 16 exahash, future hash rate 32 exahash. They're still basically 50% only installed right now, roughly. So they still have a lot of growth left in them. HODL 4,218. That's valued at 210 million right now. Bitcoin goes up double. That's going to be valued a heck of a lot more, which is great. And knowing them, they're probably going to start selling this into the bull run here, like they did last time, to build their coffers up for the possible bear market, where they can then use that cash to build out even more without possibly diluting as much. That's kind of the game plan. At least I think that's the game plan. BTC, you can see here that they are 649. Their best month was in December. In December, obviously, we had a lot of the transaction fees being added to it as well, 20%. So they beat that if it wasn't for the transaction fees there. And then you can see here their month-over-month difference of BTC mined, BTC HODL. That has been growing. I mean, look at this, their HODL here. Last year, in February, they had 100 Bitcoin at that time. And they just continued to stack throughout the year going into the halving event. And that was fantastic to see here how they did that. So congrats to those guys getting that nice HODL here going into the halving event, which is what I was saying, what I've been saying for quite a while is, right, there's a time to HODL and the time to sell. The time to HODL is before the halving event. Time to sell is during the bull market and after the bull market a little bit as Bitcoin price is coming back down. That's when you want to sell. It's not something that you want to hold on to for the cycles, right? You don't want to be holding on to your stack while the Bitcoin price is going down because you're losing on it anyways. So they've actually mastered that last cycle, did a really great job. And we'll just leave it at that. BTC per exahash efficiency 40.6. That's down here as it is for everybody else. BTC sold. Future hash rate or hash rate and revenue here. Hash rate, you can see here that they were kind of like stepping stones here for them. They were at 6.6, 6.7, 9, 9.3, 9.6, 10, and then they kind of leveled off a little bit here, and then 16 exahash. So huge growth here for them for the month in February. A fantastic job getting there. So they're basically like 2 months behind schedule of where they were supposed to be. When they originally said they're getting to 16 exahash, they said they would get to that by the end of 2023. But then later on, they came out quite a few months before that and said that the power company was not going to be able to supply them the power until sometime in, I think it was February. So they nailed it pretty much. So great job there. Monthly revenue here, best month here that they've had, 32.3 million in revenue. So that's continuing to increase, which is nice to see. Hash rate growth month over month, huge growth here. Obviously, Bitcoin sold value. They've been selling very little here over the last 2 months. They sold very little also in July, August, and September of last year as well, while they were trying to grow their HODL position. Here, looking at the institution side of things, institutions did increase also to 265 from 240. Shares increased to 92 million from 72. It's now 47% owned by institutions. So we'll have to keep an eye on how institutions are doing as far as when they start selling, because once they start selling, they're going to be selling a lot. It's going to be driving the price down like crazy. So it's something we're going to have to keep an eye on here. We still have 2 strong buy ratings, 2 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price target increased to $27 here now from $14. That's a huge increase here. Average $14 and the low of $8. And then going down here as far as what we actually installed, when we installed it, as you can see, we have a long list of miners here for them. But down here, it looks like we installed all of these, not all of these, potentially. I probably should have installed these 140 terahash miners as well. I'm trying to figure out when things are getting in. I may have to redo this. I didn't realize that I missed this. Oh, this was 2.2 exahash. I may have to rethink this. So I may redo this, but right now the numbers work for us the way they are. They were mining for pretty much 29 days out of the month for everything here. We saw the 140 terahash minus, 200 terahash minus as well here. Because those were supposed to come in here in January, February, and March. So maybe I will have to redo this a little bit. Looking at it now, I see that I missed this one. But let's get in what we have here right now. That got us to the, I had to add 1.8 million in additional transaction fees for them. And that got us to the 32.368 million that we are going by here, based on what they actually mined here in the month of February. 649. Did they report 648? Do I have that wrong? 648. All right, I got to fix that too. So I'll fix that. So we're going to be down, what is it going to be, 50-some thousand dollars down on this. I'll get this fixed over the weekend here. We'll get this updated for you guys. Other than that, looking at all the numbers that we do have here for them, they are looking forward, $10.62 to $15.83. That's obviously 1 month before the halving, and then 11 months after the halving event. But as we know, Bitcoin price is going to go up. That value should go up as well. If we look at the last 3 quarters, the current quarter that we're in right now, I'm between $13.64 to $20.47. So it looks like the analysts are kind of more forward-looking as far as where Bitcoin price could go. They're looking at it like if I had the PE up to 27 or something like that, that gets us to the $27 for the high as well. So that's definitely more forward-looking. At that point, I would say that they're undervalued right now, which I think they still are. Because if we know, or as you know, Bitcoin is going to continue to go up here in value as time goes on. We may have pullbacks. Obviously, it's going to be volatile going forward. But the cyclical nature and the historical nature of Bitcoin that we've seen in the past leads us to believe that Bitcoin price is going to go much higher this cycle, especially once we get past the halving event where we have more of a supply shock going into it. Okay. Overall, fantastic job by the team at Cleanspark, getting pretty much 6 exahash installed in a month here, buying facilities, doing all the right things. They still have to build out a little bit more here to get to the 20 exahash that they want to get to by the end of the first half. And then they're going to be working obviously on the second part of the year to get to 32 exahash by the end of the year. So they've definitely got their work cut out here for them, but it's definitely going to be a good ride for investors, I think, as well. They have a healthy balance sheet. Everything's looking good. Really no real issues here, and I probably should update this to match this so we can have a better understanding of how that looks. See, things you don't catch sometimes when you're looking at it one time. 200. There we go. That looks more in line from where things should look like. So 42 million in debt, total current liabilities right now, not debt really, but liabilities, and then total current assets 181 million as of Q1, which is their Q1 is our Q4 basically. Okay, so that is it. I am going to continue to hodl this one. I don't know if I have the cash, I'll probably buy some more DCA into it some more, because I do think there's still a lot more upside to this one going forward here. So that is it. My only sales pitch is, if you enjoy this type of content, obviously hit the like button, subscribe, and then also Patreon members will get access to all these spreadsheets and everything else that I do on it. Plus you get access to the Discord server, which is available to all of our Patreon members, and we have a lot of great communication on that one. And then the link for this is in the description below. So if you want to get access to it, do that. And this is the only way that that I actually earn anything, is from either YouTube ads or from the great Patreon members and YouTube members as well. You guys see that I don't do any ads or anything else during the videos, or paid sponsorships or anything like that. I do get from time to time, almost weekly here now, I'm getting requests to do some kind of a sponsorship with somebody that's like some off-the-wall crypto exchange or some token. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that, because it doesn't go into what we deal with here at all. And plus, I don't want to be showing you guys all that crap. If I don't use it, I'm not going to be, basically advertising it on it. So I'll leave it at that. Other than that, it's been a wild week. It deserves a good Friday that we had today, which is nice. And then we'll see where things go next week. We had a great month for February as far as Bitcoin and everything else. So we still have a long ways to go before everything is said and done, and Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners as well. Where we end up as far as price is concerned, nobody really knows right now. We'll see. Somewhere, I'm thinking 180 is probably the minimum. Maybe towards 300,000 might be the top. We'll see. Okay. But that is it. We'll leave it at that. We'll do a video probably tomorrow. We'll probably not do anything on Sunday unless something happens. Then we might do like a thing. Oh, also Sunday, almost forgot. At 12 p.m. Central Time, I'm joining the Bitcoin mining stock guy on Twitter Spaces at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to talk about, obviously, all that's happening here. You guys are more than welcome to jump on and ask questions as well. And we always have a lot of fun there. That usually lasts pretty long. It's like 2 to 3 hours, but it's fun. I mean, you get some great people on there. You get Matt, Penny, obviously we know is a bear. Penny gets on there and he asks some good questions too that makes us think. So there's a lot of good conversation happening there. We'll see if maybe we can get somebody from Cleanspark on. Not sure if we can, but we'll try. That would be great to hear from them and maybe from other miners. Last week we talked to Gryphon CEO as well. We talked to Sue from Hut 8. So we try to get people on as best we can. Sometimes obviously people are busy on Sundays and things like that, family time, which is understandable. But if they can join, that would be great. All right, I'm rambling on here. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,